You know, when I think about it, golf is such a game of balance. There are times where I like to compete and take it seriously, and there are times where I like to enjoy myself and have fun. There are times where I'll swing too hard, trying to hit the crap out of the ball, and I hit more dirt than ball. And then there's times where I get afraid of the ball and I swing too light and I duff it. And you know, there are times where I love being out on the golf course, hitting balls, everything's going my way. And then there are times I want to throw my damn club across the pond. I should go get that. But as I was saying, balance. Golf is a game of balance. And my name's Jack, here with Rubberman Golf. And today we're gonna work through some balance poses. We're gonna be working some of the muscles. We're working some of the joints. We're not gonna be moving too fast. We're not gonna be moving too slow. And we're gonna learn just how important balance is in our swing and in our game. So find somewhere to move around and let's get started. All right, my yogis. Instead of coming right into our balance poses from the jump, we're gonna warm up with a familiar sequence you may know if you practice with us. We're gonna move through our sun salutation, which is fancy yoga talk for taking a few folds and bends. And so we will begin in child's pose. Come on down onto your knees. Now from here, you can take your knees as wide as you like, press your hips back as far as you can, and walk your hands forward. Reach the crown of your head forward and bring your forehead all the way to the floor. And if your forehead doesn't reach all the way to the floor, you can take a block or a cushion and place your forehead on that. Now from here, we're just gonna take some deep breaths, trying to press your tailbone back as you reach the crown of your head forward. It's sort of like playing tug of war with the crown of your head and the base of your spine. You can use your hands here to send your hips back. You should feel your spine lengthening. Let's take one more deep breath. And as you exhale, you can walk yourself up. And from here, we're gonna set up for downward facing dog. You wanna tuck your toes underneath your heels, plant your hands firmly on the mat, and from here, use your hands to send your hips straight up towards the sky. Take a minute to find your stance here. Maybe adjust your hands a little further, a little closer. You want to keep your eyes right between your toes. Aim your sight right between your toes. We're going to keep that deep breath. Inhale, deep breath. Press up onto your tippy toes. And as you exhale, soften your heels towards the floor. You'll feel that beautiful stretch through the back of your hamstrings. One more breath together. Inhale. Now press your chest towards the tops of your thighs. We're gonna take one more breath together. Inhale. And as you exhale, look forward and start to make your way up to the top of your mat. Walk your feet to your hands, however you'd like to get there. But we're gonna come into a stance with feet about hips width distance. Grab opposite hand to opposite elbow and let your head and neck hang loose. This is called ragdoll pose. And you would just wanna let your upper body hang loose. If this is really intense, bend at the knee. You can bend at the knee to soften the pose. Maybe shake your head yes, shake your head no. And as you exhale, release your hands, walk your feet together. We're gonna inhale, rise to stand, press down into your feet to rise up. And we're gonna keep it moving upwards. Let's take extended mountain pose. Reach your arms up, lift the crown of your head. Wrap your shoulder blades around your spine, open your chest, look up. Deep breath in and fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Reach the crown of your head forward, tailbone back. Your fingertips can be on the mat or your shins. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands on the mat and step your feet back. We're gonna come into a high plank. So position your hands underneath your shoulders. Soften your elbows a bit here. It'll make you come into your muscles. That's good. That's what we want. Shift your weight forward. Find where you need to be. Find your balance. If being up on the hands is really difficult, you might like to drop onto your forearms. But wherever you're at, we're gonna take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, slowly lower halfway down. Try to keep your knees lifted off the floor. As you come into upward facing dog, lift your chest, press the tops of your feet down into the floor. Deep breath in and exhale, come through downward facing dog. Let's just take one recovery breath here. Deep breath in, and let's come back through a standing position. And you should be feeling nice and loose, maybe a little warm. That's good. Drink some water, and let's get ready for our balance poses. You know, we're Yankee Doodle doing it today, everybody. We're being active, so take your time as we move through these poses. We're gonna really stress the importance of the breath. So even just coming off of our sun salutation sequence, take some nice deep breaths. And that's just as important as all the movement that we do here. Focusing on the breath. You wanna try to breathe deeply into your belly. And of course, you'll notice that's kind of difficult through some of these poses as we twist and affect the body in different ways. Even though that's the case, take those deep, cool breaths. Because on the theme of balance, yes, we work on the physical body to improve our golf game, but here on Rubberman Yoga, we're trying to improve our mental fortitude as well, learning to regulate the nervous system, keeping our stress regulated so that we can step up and play our best game. Dog cat. So, my friends, my yogis, let's get into our balance poses. And pro tip, find yourself a nice chair or an item about hip height that you can use to help balance. The wall, our favorite surfboard wall, is also very helpful to lean up against, to use as a support. You can slide your hip up against a wall and use it to support your body and have full control as we come through these poses. All right, this first pose is called Eagle Pose. We take it on one side at a time. So when you're ready, step up with your right foot. And we're gonna move nice and slow here with a deep breath in. Lift your left foot off the floor. And we might like to just kind of get our balance here, see what it feels like to stand on one foot. Try to line your spine straight up, like stack your vertebrae one on top of the other. Another good tip is to engage your core. Hug your core in towards center, towards your spine. Lift the crown of your head up. And watch, I'll be real passive here and kind of slump over. But watch what happens when I engage my core, hug in, reach up. I just grew a whole foot. All right, and once we're comfortable with this balance, we're gonna explore the different variations that are available here. You have the option to take your left leg and cross it over your right. Now I have a block here by my foot on the outside of my right foot. So as I take my left leg over, I can rest my foot on the block. So you can have your toes resting on the block for support. You might even like to wrap your left leg all the way around the back side of your right leg. So I'm coiled up here, and look, part of the fun and part of the challenge of our balance poses is you're gonna fall out a bunch of times. That's all good. I'm starting to feel the muscles in my right leg activating, which is what we want. So I'm gonna set up into this eagle pose, right? Balancing on my right leg, sitting my hips low, and I'm gonna cross my left leg over the top. I have my block here for support if I need it, but I'm gonna try to keep my left leg wrapped around. That's the lower body. From here, if you'd like, you can take your arms into a field goal, cactus position. You can take prayer hands, pressing your hands together, or you can take your left arm underneath your right, wrap it around, and bring your palms together. Wherever you're at, lift your elbows, lift your chest. We're gonna take 3 deep breaths. Try to hold the shape with your body. Find one unmoving object in front of you and fix your gaze. Deep breath and slowly release. All right, shake it out here. And as we do with all of our poses, feel the after effects happening in your body. I know there is a big difference between my right leg and my left leg right now. That's how I know something's happening, something's working. Alrighty, let's balance things out by taking the pose on the left. Step on up with your left foot, press your heel down, drop your hips, bend your knee. When you're ready, pick your right foot up and immediately notice maybe you have better balance on one side over the other. Wherever you're at, set yourself up. I'm gonna bring my chair over to the left side with me here because I'm gonna take all the support I can get. All right, plant your left foot, take your right foot wherever it needs to be. I'm wrapping around my leg. I also have my block here for the support. I'm gonna sit low, stack my spine, reach on up. This time, if you'd like, you can take your right arm underneath your left, press your palms together, lift your chin, lift your elbows, fix your gaze, focus, and take 3 deep breaths. And as you release your breath, release the pose. That's what I'm talking about. Now, why do you think these poses are so important? Why are we doing this today? Well, let's take a look at our golf swing and think about it. When we're in the swing, when we're in our twist, think about how our balance might get thrown off and we leave that original plane that we put the club on. You're gonna drop, you're gonna shift back, you're gonna wobble, and you're not gonna strike where you lifted your club up from. So these balance poses are gonna help us keep our firm, grounded stance so that we can twist and stay on that plane. Keep that in mind as we keep moving around here. All right, so we got eagle in the bag. Man, you're gonna know all about eagle when you keep practicing yoga with Rubber Man. All right, let's come into our next balance. This next pose is very creatively called standing leg raise. I know, very profound. So again, I'm gonna start with my right foot planted. My right foot's down so I can lift my left foot up. Now this time we're really gonna try to sit back. Take your seat, right? Lower your hips, tilt your pelvis up. If your pelvis is like a bowl of water, try to tip the front edge up so you don't spill a drop. Now the challenge here is to get your knee parallel and in line with your hip. And since that's the case, I'm going to lift my block up so it's a little bit taller for me. So if I need it, it is right there. But again, I'm gonna try it without. The block is there for safety purposes. So with my knee in line with my hip, I'm also flexing my foot. See all the right angles happening here? I have active muscles in my leg. I'm lifting my chest, lifting my shoulders, lifting the crown of my head. And you'll see how that improves your balance too. From here, I'm gonna take my left arm out to the side, and I'm gonna open my left leg out to the side. You see this movement? You see the hip opening? I'm trying to keep my chest and my belly button squared to the front. And now I'm gonna take my eyes over my left thumb. Once again, find an object you can focus on. You see I'm losing a little bit of my straight spine. I'm gonna hug in towards center. And I'm gonna take 3 deep breaths. Once again, feel free to have your chair or your sturdy object by your side. Now when I'm complete, coming back to center, both feet on the floor. Never felt so good. Even though we're just standing still, I'm feeling the heat. Feel the muscles you're working. You're getting a little workout here. All right, now it's time to even it out on the other side. I'm setting up my block nice and tall. I'm stepping up now with my left foot planted, sitting low, get a little softness in your knee and your hips, tilt your pelvis, lift your right leg up, 90-degree knee, flex your foot, hug everything in towards center. Now I'm gonna take my right arm out to the side. I'm going to open up my right hip. And I'm gonna breathe nice and deeply from the belly. You got this. You can manage the stress. You can tolerate the discomfort. After 3 breaths, come on back to center. Bring both feet to the floor. Shake it out. Notice how your body feels. Notice how your legs are feeling. Notice how your core is feeling. All right, I've saved my favorite for last. We're gonna take, for our final series here, airplane pose. And this is a good time to line yourself up with a nice wall or somewhere to support yourself if you haven't already been using a wall to help you out here. So I'm gonna start by sliding my left hip up against the wall. So I got my hip up against the wall here. I am supported, I'm strong, I ain't going nowhere. And I'm also gonna start off with some blocks in my hands. These are just a great yoga tool. Anything with a little bit of height, something firm you can put your body weight on, because we'll see here as we come into the pose. So as always with our balance, soften your knee, drop your hips, take your seat. And so from here I'm gonna lift the opposite foot up. My left hip is against the wall, so I'm lifting my right foot. With a deep breath, inhale. And as you exhale, we're gonna hinge forward from the hip and kick your right foot back. I'm pulling my toes towards my shins. And I'm gonna take my hands to the floor in front. So now I got my blocks here and I got my foot back. Check out my right hip here too. It's really easy to lift your right hip up or have it lower than your left hip, but I'm gonna press my heel back and try to keep both hips in line with each other. From here, reach the crown of your head forward. And if you want a real challenge, you can lift your arms off your blocks, palms facing down, flying like an airplane. We're gonna take a deep breath in and out. Now this is where things get fun. And this is all optional, everybody. If you want a challenge, take your left hand to a block or the floor, and I still have my left hip pressed up against the wall here. I'm going to open my right hip up to the sky. I'm still pressing my right foot back. I have the wall here to support me. You can reach your right arm up, and this is called half moon. You don't find yourself in a position like this every day, unless you practice yoga with me. Open your chest, open your hips, deep breath in, and slowly lower your feet to the floor. Looks like I have more balance than the board. All right, time to hit the other side. And just for the sake of demonstration, I'm gonna pull my chair in here and use this as my wall for my hip. So I'm lining my right foot up against the wall, pressing my right hip up against a solid object. I'm gonna grab my blocks here too. I'm gonna get strong on my right foot, lifting my left foot. Inhale, reach up, lift up, arms up. And as you exhale, hinge forward from your hips. Blocks, hands to the floor. Pulling my toes towards my shin. I'm reaching the crown of my head forward. I got my leg soft. My knee is soft. My leg is strong. And I'm gonna take my arms up into full airplane, flying. I'm flying. Deep breaths, 3 breaths, you know the deal. And if you would like, you can join me here in our half moon. I'm gonna take my right hand to my block, to the floor. I'm gonna open up my left hip, keeping my left leg strong as well. Opening up my chest, opening up my hips, deep breath in. And when you're ready, you can find some solid ground. Woo! And all that got my legs feeling nice and worked. I even feel a little bit of core work, some core fatigue there as well. And as always, I encourage you to pay attention to your body, see how you're feeling as we come into our wrap up. And this is something a little different we got into today. We're working on our balance because, as we can see, physical balance is very, very important in our golf swing. Notice that next time you're at the driving range or hitting balls, notice how your balance plays a huge role and how you strike the ball. When we learn to get strong on both sides, learn to balance things out with our muscles, with our joints, we'll be able to really engage in our fullest swing. And that's my hope for anybody joining us here on this channel, is work your body, see the improvements happen over time. If you work with us consistently, that will happen. So as always, Jack signing off with Rubberman Golf. I will see you next time.